Another Indonesian startup company, namely Xendit, has now earned the status of unicorn. After raising $150 million in Series C funding, Xendit's valuation has now been bumped up to $1 billion and hence earning unicorn status. The Series C funding for Xendit, a company known for digital payment infrastructure, was led and participated by American invest firms. Xendit now joins the list of 4 other Indonesian unicorns: Traveloka, Bukalapak, Gojek, and Ovo.
Xendit, transfer bank kemana saja, semuanya otomatis. 1000 transaksi atau transfer 500 juta per hari dikirim dengan 1 klik saja. Nggak perlu lagi pusing, semua sudah tercatat secara rapi dan otomatis. Tunggu apa lagi?
Let's see our balance view. This view informs you on the available balance.
And now to discuss more about Indonesian startups, digital payments, and their new unicorn status, Metro TV's Sara Wayne talked with the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of Xendit, Tessa Wijaya.
In the time of businesses going digital and also the rising use of digital payments, a secure, safe, and easy to use payment gateway service is needed to help support businesses, not only to help increase their sales, but also retaining customers. Here in Indonesia, a financial technology startup that provides payment gateway services, Xendit, has just been announced as Indonesia's latest unicorn. And to know more about payment gateways and what it offers to businesses, we have with us on Jakarta Movers and Shakers, Tessa Wijaya, the Chief Operating Officer and also the co-founder of Xendit. Hello, Tessa. How are you?
Good. How are you? And thank you so much for having me today.
Likewise, thank you for being with us. And first of all, congratulations on Xendit being among the list of Indonesian unicorns.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, we're definitely very proud of what we've achieved today.
Yeah, and being an Indonesian unicorn, what does this mean to you? And what does it say exactly about the standing of Indonesian startups in Southeast Asia and the world?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Obviously, for me, it's been a really great source of pride. We're able to bring Indonesia to the world stage and kind of say, hey, we've got world-class companies here that can be backed by the likes of Tiger Global, Accel, and Kleiner Perkins, sort of being in that same stage as the Facebooks of the world, the Googles of the world. What it sends to the global stage as well is that Indonesia is a land of opportunity. That Indonesia, despite what's happening globally, despite the pandemic, that there are a lot of opportunities to be had in market, and that we can also bring in that growth to the world stage.
And Tessa, can you please also explain to us, especially for the viewers who are not familiar yet with payment gateways, what is exactly payment gateway service and how does it work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So payment gateway, first things first, what it means is we're a player that serves other businesses. So we help businesses to come online and to transact digitally. I like to use the analogy of a logistics company. So basically, we help merchants move money from one place to another. So we link, for example, the Visas and MasterCards of the world to the banks of the world, as well as to the merchants themselves who want to transact digitally.
All right, and Tessa, it's quite interesting because you reached the unicorn status during the pandemic. And if I'm not wrong, it started in 2014. Can you please tell us about your 7 years journey in reaching the unicorn status?
Yeah, sure. So we actually started out in 2015. We were accepted at Y Combinator, actually proud to be the very first Indonesia company to be accepted to that accelerator program in the Valley. So it's been about 5 to 6 years now. We've been able to grow, from starting out at a house, which is kind of the garage equivalent in Indonesia of the Silicon Valley startup life. And we've been able to grow to being able to transact and process 10 billion USD worth of payments per annum, as well as having been able to expand to the Philippines, aside from Indonesia being our home market.
And Tessa, what about the digital transactions during the pandemic? Because data shows that it has been an increasing numbers during the COVID-19 pandemic. But what about the business of payment gateways itself? Did you see an experience of surge in customers or transactions during the pandemic?
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, look, for a lot of businesses, especially in places like Southeast Asia, the offline market is still a very important part of transacting or being able to gain revenue to sell your goods. But throughout the pandemic, that channel has essentially been closed by force because merchants can no longer sell in malls or in offline stores, and customers just were not going to come and look at your stall and buy your goods. So there's been a massive influx in sellers, merchants coming online during this period. We're seeing an increase in signups up to about 10,000 signups per month of all these small businesses who suddenly are seeing that it's a must to go online. It's a must to be able to innovate and go digital rather than a good to have, because there's no more option to sell offline.
And speaking of small businesses and the need the urgency to move online and making digital transactions, reportedly you worked with the Indonesian warungs or street vendors and provide them with digital payment infrastructures. Can you please tell us more on this project and experience? How many, and were there any certain types of vendors or warungs did you work with?
So we don't actually work with the warungs direct. What we do is we work with the bookkeeping platforms to enable payments on their application or their platforms as well. In that sense, I like to analogize as either the trucks that move the money or the piping that will allow services to be delivered to these small players. In that sense, we're seeing a massive influx of users or a massive influx in payments moving through our platform. So certainly, in a very real way, we're helping these little merchants to be able to go online.
And speaking of small businesses, what about Indonesia's MSMEs and its potential? When or how will they be needing payment gateways in conducting their business?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Look, the bigger stats is that there are about 60 million SMEs in Indonesia. And just to highlight here, not all SMEs are alike. We call the bakso sellers or meatball sellers to warungs to mom and pop shops as SMEs. I think we are really in a place to make a huge impact to definitely the SMEs that are ready to go digital. So SMEs who've been selling in social media and everything else, because they're already aware that there is a digital platform to be able to tap into. With that in mind, Xendit itself, we're going to be focusing on a mobile-first application in the next few years. We're going to be focusing on getting these mom and pops to come online and to be able to give all the tools that are necessary in order to transact digitally.
All right. And speaking of the MSMEs, as you mentioned before, do you feel like there is a lack of education or the lack of awareness of digital literacy, especially among the players of the MSMEs, that you think should be able to shift into the digital stage?
Look, in Indonesia, we're really, really lucky in that digital literacy, in a sense, is extremely high. We have the highest users of Facebook and Instagram in the whole wide world. We've also had a bunch of ride-hailing apps, a bunch of just global players coming in market, educating the consumer, educating businesses to be able to come on cell phone to transact. So in that sense, I think the familiarity rate is high. Also, I think the government's been super duper supportive. I've been able to work with them to educate and to be able to help other startups to get bigger. So I've done this through the 1000 startup movement. So I think, yes, more education is always necessary, but I think Indonesia, that potential is super high because we're so ready to go digital and we know how to go digital.
So Tessa, you have been applauded and praised as the first female co-founder of an Indonesian unicorn. How do you respond to this? And once again, congratulations again personally for you as the first female co-founder of an Indonesian startup.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a really amazing journey. I think, I definitely did not expect to be, be representative of all the females in Indonesia. I'm super duper happy and excited to be able to go out there and be a role model for all the females in Indonesia as well as Southeast Asia. I want to show that, hey, it's possible. It's possible to be involved in the tech world as a female. It's possible to reach for the skies. It's possible not only to participate, but to be a leader. So I think I'm really excited now to have a platform to be able to kind of spread that and be really supportive to other females.
And as you mentioned before, as a role model, as a leader, and someone we can look up to from the digital talent pool, how do you see the Indonesian digital talent pool, especially the female or the woman?
Look, I think I'm seeing myself that at Xendit, there are a lot of female participants in the tech world. I see a lot of young people being very eager to be able to work at Xendit and other startups. And I see them, being really smart and being really ready. Where I see the kind of the churn or where there aren't as many female participants is once you get to that managerial and leadership position. And I think one part is, there's a lack of support in the workplace. The other part is it's perceived that to be able to work in tech, there's no such thing as work-life balance, so that when you have a family, you need to drop off. I mean, that's why at Xendit, we've been extremely supportive of our female workforce, and we've been able to support moms, we've been able to support actually mothers and fathers in order to have a family, in order to have that work-life balance. I think it's super duper important to send that signal out there that anyone can come and participate in the tech world, and that we are supportive of people being able to have a family and to have other things outside of work as well.
And with the acceleration of digitalization that we are seeing right now, many are turning and choosing the digital career path, as you mentioned before, that there are many potential talents and great talents, for example, at Xendit. But what exactly does it take to be successful in the field, in your opinion?
Well, I think first things first, that there's nothing that beats hustle. And secondly, I think we have to be open to always learning new things when we work in the startup space. Indonesia itself, we're still really young. The startup world has only existed maybe for the past 5-6 years, especially the fintech world. So a lot of things are still new for all of us. I mean, before I started out, I was in the investment world. I knew nothing about products. I knew nothing about how to automate things or how to improve the user experience. But there are a lot of ways to learn now. You can always go online. You can get yourself mentors. You can go to the likes of Lunch Club to be able to learn from other people who are in the tech space. So I think it's all about openness. It's all about your ability to be able to adjust and learn new things. And of course, thirdly, it's all about the hustle and working hard.
And Tessa, Xendit has received funding from foreign investors. From your experience, how do the foreign investors from countries like the United States view Indonesian startups, and why are they so keen or eager in investing?
Yeah, look, I mean, when Xendit started out, the influx of funds from VCs in the Valley was not like what it's not like what it is today. Obviously, so Xendit's been really proud to open up that door for other startups. Really, we were the first to start out in Y Combinator to be able to get accepted there, and now we're seeing an influx of Indonesian startups applying, getting accepted, batch by batch. I speak to them a lot as well. We've been able to really show the likes of Accel and Kleiner Perkins that Indonesia is a possibility, that Indonesia is a market that's ripe to be able to grow really, really fast and to be able to go digital. So I think right now the only way is up, and I think this is a chance for every other startup to reach their dream and to get that funding from the Valley.
And if we look at the data, especially in 2021, the numbers have shown that there has been a decrease in startup fundings by 35%. But this did not apply to Xendit apparently, because Xendit turned out to be Indonesia's latest or newest unicorn this year. How did Xendit do this? How did it defy the trend, the decreasing trend of startup fundings?
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to get funding aside from showing investors that the growth rate is there. Xendit itself, our payment volumes have grown about 200% year on year. That shows the traction. That shows that we've been able to just produce the right products and find product market fit here in Indonesia and also in the Philippines.
Speaking of the next 4 to 5 years, how do you project the growth of digital transactions industry, especially as we are now facing the global pandemic? If the global pandemic has ended, how will you see the digital transactions trends be?
Yeah, I mean, totally. I think it's going to be a really big 4 or 5 years for Southeast Asia. I mean, the value of digital transactions is going to grow probably threefold. Right now, I think we're at about 100 billion US dollars. And I think by 2025 itself, there's studies that says it will reach up to 300 billion US dollars. So yeah, the opportunities are really big and it's really out there.
Innovation and thinking ahead and thinking what's next. Thank you, Tessa, for your insights and also your advice for the future digital talents of Indonesia. Once again, congratulations on Xendit's unicorn status, and we wish you the best of luck for the future endeavors. That
Thanks
was
so much.
Thank you.